Okay, I'd like to call the meeting of the Fremont School Board to order on Tuesday, April 23rd. It's about 7:10. We started a little late this evening. And we'll start with a salute to the flag, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do a roll call, please.
Freddie's here.
Riding here. Kit here.
Keating here.
Holford here.
Jump right into old business. Well, we did the attorney for contract negotiations. I think I have everything here. And we're gonna skip Legos first, right, for this evening?
Yes.
There'll be more information on that shortly. And a policy on withdrawal from paid high school courses for SST.
I could not find any policies on parents having to pay for courses that students enrolled in and then withdrew. So I have a meeting with the Southeastern superintendents the first week in May, and I'll bring it up as an issue at that meeting to see if someone else could direct me to where to find it. Okay, but I went online to Portsmouth, Dover, Sanborn, Rochester, and there was one other district, and I couldn't find anything.
Did we find out if there's a policy that there's like a window of withdrawing before we have to pay, like a 2-week? Do you know, for SST's policy, their own payment policy, is there a withdrawal period before you
No,
have to
I
pay?
don't know. I'll call Margaret Callahan and find out.
Some colleges, if you take a course, you can withdraw up to 2 weeks without getting charged for the course. I don't know if SST handles it that way or not. Are there any agenda revisions? Anybody need to add anything? Take anything away? Do you have any, Michelle? Any agenda
No.
revisions? No. Okay, minutes, public minutes of April 9th. Did anybody have any changes?
Page 6. Just a clarification.
Page 6 of the packet or page
Page
6
6
of
of
the
the
minutes? Okay. Which is the same.
Yeah. Let me just get my comments up here.
While you're doing that, I'll bring up a couple. Page 2, section 3, the update on, oh no, I'm sorry, section 2. Michelle, could we just clarify in that second paragraph, it says on the 4th line down, it says, their administrator uses another rubric to decide if the SLO fits in with the goals of the district or for that teacher.
That's correct. So the teachers they're given a rubric to determine if their SLO meets the state's idea of a quality student learning objective. And then the administrator is given from the state a different rubric to decide whether or not the rubric fits in with the school district's goals, or if it works for that particular teacher who may be on an improvement plan, who may be brand new to that grade level for a year, that kind of thing.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I wasn't sure if it was and or if it was or.
It is or.
Okay. And this would need to be implemented for the 2014-15 year, and it would begin with kindergarten. should that say, and it would be include kindergarten through 8th grade? 'Cause-
Yeah, it
okay.
would include kindergarten through 8th grade.
This makes it sound like it's gonna start at the kindergarten level
Oh,
and
no.
maybe wait a year and then do.
No, it would include kindergarten through 8th grade.
Okay, that would be a better way to put that probably. What was yours, Andy?
Page 6, number 3. It's below, let's see. Down there,
Number 3. Oh,
yeah,
negotiations committee?
yeah, is
The
that it?
Q&A?
Page 6, let me look at this, wait. Yes, I'm in here. Page 6 on the bottom.
Okay.
Okay, page 6. Oh, no, number 4, sorry about that. Ms. Gross just having a maintenance. Oh, number 2 it is. Mr. Cole asked if there was a policy Mr. Williams going to check. Okay, that is it, yeah. And I just asked also if it was mandatory, if the virtual meeting policy was mandatory.
I included the.
Yes, you did, you responded to that. So, but just want to add that I asked if it was a policy which ordering, if it was mandated by the
A
state.
required policy?
Yes, required policy by the state.
Okay. Anything else for anybody else?
Not on the-
Oh, yeah, number 4, page 6. It says, Ms. Coach just having a maintenance report on the boilers, this would help in comparing the cost of boilers, just to add year over year,
Okay.
or year to year. Oh, would help comparing the cost of oil, actually cost of oil for the boilers year over year. All right. Or fuel for the boilers year over year.
Okay.
Anybody else?
On page 3, at the bottom, Lori, this is really just a question from you. It says the 10,000 from fund balance was omitted. Is that correct?
Page 3.
Yes, that is.
It was omitted? Okay.
Yes.
I wasn't
It's
sure
really
if you
not
said
in the pro-
omitted or included, so I just wanted to make sure that's correct. Okay.
It is correct.
I guess I'm on page 10. Oh, okay, yeah, it's the same thing, actually, page 10 is something that just,
There is no page 10 of these minutes.
no, it's not. Would be these minutes, no, the minutes, no.
Okay, so any other changes to the minutes? I take a motion to accept.
Motion to approve as amended.
Second.
That's the public minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All those in favor?
Aye.
all
Aye.
right. That's
Okay, and then we'll do non-public and non-public, because those are sealed for a year. Board superintendent communications and reports, the superintendent's report.
Yes, in your packets, I have included what I can for public session. You will notice that there is a letter from the teachers' union requesting a proportionate share of the holiday that LGC granted us for the month of August. And I will, there's, from what research I've been able to do, there is nothing that I can find that says we are required to do that. And as you might remember, we did take the entire sum as an offset to our health insurance in our proposed budget. But I would like to speak with Mr. Phillips about that issue and bring all the information to you before you make a decision.
Does the public know what we're talking about?
The-
All right.
All right, the
I wrote
teachers.
letters, so yes.
Yeah, we know what we're talking about, yes, you do. The other two,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Right. So, I have in your packet a memorandum of understanding from the police department. as I've been trying to explain to you and the community, I'm doing everything I can to shore up all of our procedures with safety. And we would like, I know it's, usually it goes through the policy committee, but I felt that given especially the circumstances of last week, that we update, just, there are no changes, it's just new signatures and including a form that that is offered by the State Department of Education. So if we could approve that tonight.
Did everybody get a chance to read it?
Yes, I read it.
Okay, so do we have a motion to, the policy's in place, Michelle, or not? The JICDR? No?
It is in place.
Okay, so we
But
don't
it
have to,
has old signatures, it's old,
right, right, the memo of understanding we have to approve tonight, but the policy's already in place. So we're just approving the memo of understanding,
Mhm.
so if we can
I
have a
will
motion.
motion to approve the memo of understanding as presented.
Second.
Any other discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
thank you.
You're welcome.
I will just have you sign it, Chair. I did get the Fremont Online Community Survey results. I don't know what more you wanted. I just think it was very curious that the school district wasn't even notified.
Yeah, I don't know what happened because this was done before you came on. So, and I certainly had spoken to the planning board about, including, everyone, including the school board, school district, on the survey.
Who is the planning board chair, do you know?
Roger Barham, B-A-R-H-A. So,
B-R,
B-A-R-H-A-M.
B-A-R-H-A-M.
So,
And was he the chair when they put
Yes.
the survey out?
yes, he was the chairman of the survey. I don't think they're really involved much of anybody, a lot of stuff about the school was pretty spontaneous, so.
I wouldn't mind talking to him though, and just asking him what they plan to use the information for perhaps. and-
Oh, yeah, I should tell you, they're using it to develop their master plan. Every town has a master plan for development, and it has to be updated every so many years. And the survey was really part of developing the master plan. As you can see in the survey, there's other things brought up in the survey, not just, like the
Sidewalks.
yeah, sidewalks and the way that, the look of Main Street as you enter the town, and taxes, need for businesses, what type of businesses people would like to see, there's a whole, the school was only very small, even though we got no responses, we were really only a very small part of it.
Right, but the fact that I don't think many parents
Right.
answered this, I just,
Yeah,
or,
right.
and given that there were some pretty negative
Yes, there
comments
were.
made about the school district, it just seems unfortunate
Right.
that we weren't,
Mhm.
uh,
That means, I don't know if you may have been contacted, who knows?
I'd like to take it as an opportunity, maybe Michelle, to reach out to them and
Right.
let them know that we would be interested in helping promote their surveys, just like we would be interested in them helping us promote ours when we're looking for community feedback. So it might just be a good opportunity to just reach out and let them know that,
mhm.
and maybe start a relationship there, because I don't know the gentleman at all, and he's the chair of our planning board. It would be
Right.
nice for us all to know each other.
I'm quite sure they would like to have had a larger response.
Mhm.
Maybe they'd
they
wanna
only had-
redo.
They'd love to have, they'd love to, well,
When was this done, how long ago?
last summer.
Like, it just passed? A year
No,
or a year ago?
no, not, yes, 2012, maybe.
Does it have?
Maybe 2011.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
If it pleases the board, I will do that and just reach out and
Yeah.
have a chat and let you know how it goes.
Have at it.
Okay.
And Mr. Kohlhofer did request, a policy on online courses, online education.
Right,
And the only thing I could find was policy IMBA.
right.
Most of the time, online courses are offered at the high school level only. But the costs for these online courses can range from free, which is the virtual
Right.
learning academy,
Right.
to $2,400 a course. I have heard that Seacoast Educational Services is looking into, they're just exploring an online textbook deal.
Mhm.
But the thing is, it is a reduced cost from buying the paper
Yes.
copy of the textbooks, but you have to have a device for every student.
Right.
So
And do they then expire at the end of the year?
they
So
they
then you
can
have
have
to
like
buy
2 or
this-
3 year,
So then you have to buy the textbook again the next year for the next
Right,
set of students?
right.
No, I don't know, I don't,
It's
That's
usually
something
like
you
a
should
three-year,
right.
like in some subjects like language arts, mathematics, you're not gonna have a new mathematics theory within a 3-year period. Science is a different story, but, so I'll look more into that, but,
So we're not doing anything with this policy tonight, it's just information?
My
It's just-
understanding, we don't need to have a policy unless we're gonna offer.
that's correct.
We don't need to have a policy. Because part of the thing is, what I think I got a little bit, just to be honest with you, I got confused a little bit with the, alternate means of earning credit, which is a little bit different.
Right, there
That's a
are-
whole different ballgame.
Right.
That's right. There
Right.
are students at the high school that are on alternative
Right.
learning plans
Right.
that some include
Right,
taking online courses at home, and that's your high school experience.
right. And it's also talks about if parents want to withdraw their kids from school, you know, we have to have an approved
Mhm.
curriculum and all that sort of stuff, but that's not, just not necessarily virtual learning.
What were you thinking of in terms of virtual learning? Just that there would be no teacher involved, or?
I mean, I don't know the whole ramifications. My only thinking is this, is like, you know, we're limited what we can offer our students. If there's, you know, especially with the, you know, if there's ways we could offer them, they can have access to extra courses that we can offer directly through the school. Like foreign language and other issues that we can't offer here. You know, if we could take, even if a small group of students, you know, could access it, you know, because we can't afford to hire a foreign language teacher. So that,
Almost like a resource center maybe,
Yeah.
Michelle, I think is what you're talking about, Andy,
Yeah.
where if VLAX is free to middle schoolers, and I don't know if it is, I know it is to high school
It is.
students.
it is
Okay.
free to middle school.
So
yeah.
if it's free to the middle schoolers and they can take, say, a Spanish course online as a middle schooler, then maybe just our guidance department having that information as a resource to parents who know that their children could benefit from having a language and can handle the load along with their schoolwork. It might just be a nice way to have a resource available to let people know that that's out there in our community, because I had no idea VLAX was available for students.
My only recommendation, because my daughter took Spanish through VLAX 1 and 2, is to reach out to the guidance counselors at the high school, because
Right.
they have a procedure in place where to get credit for it at the high school, you need to have approval by the principal.
Mhm.
And so when Jessica was told about it, she took it the summer between her 8th and 9th grade. We didn't know that. Fortunately, they approved it, but they approved it way after the fact for her. So if these kids are gonna take foreign language, it would be nice for them to get credit for it for high school, because it is really a high school level
Right.
thing, so.
And also, like, you know, for enhanced classes and our response to learning, you know, You know, there's something we can't offer here, there's something, you know, advanced mathematics that we can't offer here, advanced reading materials that we can't offer here, science experiments, you know, online science experimentation, physics and stuff that we can't offer here that kids could access, you know, online if we had a, you know, as a way, you know, that we could offer things that we can't, and we just can't do in a classroom.
That's free too, for
That's
the
free.
parents, I think.
It'd have
Just
to be free.
Key, for like a summer program for a parent who's working and their child is home and maybe they could
Right.
say, you know, take a Spanish course for the summer, you know,
Right.
Just get the information out there, no idea what it was until just now.
right?
Right. Well, I think if a parent wants to pay for their child to take a course, it'd be a question of how would that be accredited, you know, but that's a whole.
No, I know, but I'm just saying all the stuff that's out there. that's
Right, there's a
available.
lot of stuff out there that's available.
I don't know what other districts do as far as resources go. I know some
Yeah.
schools have parent resource rooms where that kind of information is plunked into the parent resource room. And other times guidance can help with that, or the PTA could
Mhm.
help promote it, you know, something like that. I
Right.
don't know. I don't
If
know.
you're doing that outside of the school, like during the summer,
Right,
you'd really need to set up a whole extended learning opportunities
Mhm.
situation, and that usually requires the supervision of an in-district teacher,
right,
because you're asking the school district to give that child credit for something that they have no way of knowing what they were doing.
Except that if you go through VLAX, they're assigned a teacher. The teacher
Mhm.
calls them, they have call-in times.
Mhm.
There's a whole lesson plan that the kids follow, and they get a grade from VLAX
Mhm.
of, you know, what they got in the course, and there's, you know,
Mhm.
there's
Mhm.
tests and whatnot, and that grade gets sent to the district.
Mhm.
So it is being monitored, it's just not being monitored by us.
Right,
right. But anyways,
okay.
anyway, I think the other part I had on that, I see is asking, you know, the technology community, what type of infrastructure would we need if we ever to go to, you know, virtual textbooks? We don't have that infrastructure in place right now.
No.
And it doesn't mean we go through it, it'd be nice, because 10 years from now,
Mhm.
we may only be able to get virtual online textbooks.
Perhaps.
I mean, that's a real possibility.
Mhm.
And so we have to be prepared, I mean, we need to be thinking ahead, is start preparing for that.
Yeah, it's not part of our 3-year technology plan that
No.
we just put in.
No.
But, you know,
If there's a possibility that 10 years from now, you know, you won't be able to get a textbook from Miss Mifflin, so it's online.
When that happens, though, the technology upgrades will probably be less expensive.
Well, yeah, but I'd rather move towards it bit by bit instead of being hit with a $50,000 bill because we can't get a textbook for our kids. We can't upgrade a textbook for our kids unless we upgrade our computer system.
the Department of Ed approves our technology plan, correct?
Correct,
So
and they have
it-
not done so yet.
Oh, they haven't done so, so maybe they're gonna tell us that we need to have that kind of item in our tech plan. I would think that they would be knowing what we're gonna need in 3 years and be telling us if our tech plan is, maybe not.
I wouldn't bank on that.
Maybe not, okay. Silly me to think that, right?
I wouldn't bank on knowing what we're gonna need, because no one knows what we're gonna need in 3 years. No one knows what the state of technology
Well,
is
yeah,
in 3 years from now.
instead of 10 years, you just don't know what you got. 10 years, everything we have now is too outdated.
Right,
So,
Right.
3 years,
Hmm.
something like that.
We'll talk about it at the tech meeting, the tech committee, definitely.
thank you. Thank you very much for your work.
Michelle, if we could just get one of the board members' names spelled right on the letterhead.
Ah, yes.
Variety,
Sharon, I apologize.
Didn't I tell you I changed that spelling?
We did change that spelling.
No, I changed it.
What do you mean you changed it?
I'm kidding.
You're
it was
from Massachusetts
using
now.
it.
It's Sharon, I will say.
Sharon Durante.
Howdy.
Okay.
And we have
I
a-
did include your calendar, we made the changes that you requested.
Motion to accept as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
administrator's report. They have redone the expenditure and revenue reports for you. Have done a reconciliation of the health insurance, and pretty much my memo summarizes some of the changes, as well as a couple of account numbers that I have had to add. And pretty much part two of this is a major budget transfer request to clean up all of these large balances. So I'll just entertain questions.
The budget transfers,
Yes.
that will bring us through the rest of the year. So there won't be any more transfers to speak of, I mean. That's what you.
As far as
forecast.
health and salaries, I would say no. But if there are some items that they need for, properly codifying, let's say repairs or supplies, and they're requesting to move monies, then yes, there will be some small transfers. But this, I think that this pretty much, cleans up a great deal of it, especially, SAU office. I still also need to do another reconciliation for the Sanborn Regional billing. So far, it's tracking well, but, I'll take, another look at it this month, as well as in the next, 2 months, May and June, so.
I was thinking that page 50, number 14, that is your line item to pay for like Pinkerton and other tuition outside of, this is Tuition Academy.
That's correct, that's exactly what that is.
All right.
Let's see, trying to find it. Right, line 14.
Yes. 14.
Because when I do the report for the DOE 25 at the end of the year, the state wants to be able to see very specifically what we've charged to Pinkerton, Prospect, and I'm trying to recall the third one. So, the best way to do it is to report it flat out and have an account number for it so it doesn't get missed.
That's good, so it's not just lumped in with
Yeah,
regular
you
tuition.
run that
So that's
risk of
for three,
missing.
that number's for 3 districts?
The 5563.
Right, but we don't, right, that's an example of the academies in the state. Pinkerton, Prospect Mountain,
Oh, I thought you meant
and. Thank you, Cobra.
So that line doesn't encompass the students we have, it's not just students that are outside of Sanborn then?
It's the one that-
only the academies, it's only Pinkerton, it's only
Right.
those 3, okay.
Right.
I thought you meant like the student at Epping, the student at Pinkerton, I thought that's what you meant, a separate line item for all of them.
No.
Okay. I was gonna say it's awfully low. If it's 3 tuitions.
So, yeah, so that one is clear.
Yeah,
So we would need a motion to approve the transfers.
I think that's on the next piece of this.
Yes, next.
I'll motion to approve the transfers for $120,305.79 as presented.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are you voting?
Aye.
Get over there.
No. Is that it?
Public input.
Yep, we have a public input session. Did anybody sign that they'd like to speak tonight? Ellen? Angela?
I just wondered if you could tell me where things stand with the budget for next year. If it's already been discussed, if it's coming up, the discussion's coming up, or... I know when I wasn't at the last meeting, but I was at the one with the meeting before, and you talked about how you were working through some of the budget issues, but then you were gonna discuss it at one of the meetings.
Yeah, right now the budget has been put together by Michelle and Lori with the additional money put into it that the voters voted on at the deliberative session, as well as the money that we also asked to be put back in. And the lines are where the lines are right now. We have done nomination sheets for teachers, so the staff is in place at this point. Although the lines are a little bit off, like their para aides are showing a little lower than what we're actually gonna be paying, and the case manager showing a little higher, but that will be adjusted out. And as far as everything else goes, we haven't discussed it yet about where that extra money was gonna be put in. It was just something that Michelle and Lori did together at this point.
Will that be discussed at a future meeting, or is
Well,
it
can
just
we
sort of
discuss
a?
it now? It's already in the budget, isn't it?
We have discussed a social studies.
Well, are you ready to, I mean, I don't know, I don't have my budget book with me or
No, I
anything
didn't bring
tonight,
my budget
and I
book.
didn't prepare for it. I actually made notes in my budget book about where the additional money went, so I could track it. I think as a board, we should really approve it the way, or not, the way Michelle and Lori have decided to do it. So yes, we'll have to do that before the end of the school year and the new next school year starts.
And then will that budget become public, like will the public know?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
the budget is actually public now because I think we all got a copy and it's part of the minutes. So the budget as it stands right now, the way it's been presented to the
In the
board.
last meeting, right? It was our last meeting, I think.
Yes.
It was put together for the MS 22.
Yes, and it was.
So we would see where the money was allocated, like, I know there were some big expenditures that were unexpected.
Mhm.
You didn't foresee when you were putting the budget together and then it came into place. So I'm just curious if we will see where the money, the extra money is allocated.
I think it might be helpful for all of us, including the board, if we just ask the administration to just bring forward the list of where the dollars went that were added back into the budget. That would be the easiest way to do it, because I had to go line by line
Yeah.
and look for it.
That would,
So,
yeah, that would be interesting
Yeah.
to see. I have one other question about the bus contract. Has that been signed yet? Have we decided?
yes,
Okay.
yes. And then they asked us if we would redo if we would approve some new routes,
I saw that.
and we haven't seen it yet. I don't think they brought it forward yet.
To decrease the amount we're gonna spend on the buses, or just,
We so wish, but no.
Yeah,
It's because our high school runs are, the ridership is very low, and our middle school, the kids are, it's very high. And so what they would like to do is take a high school bus and put it towards the middle school run.
so
So
that one,
open the
that
limit
did,
bus.
that was one of the expenditures that came in kinda high, so we did go forward with that.
well, yeah, it was the only bid we received.
We didn't have a choice because we had already approved the bid too.
It was the only bid that we got, and it was significantly higher than what we would have anticipated as the increase.
Yeah, why do you suppose we didn't get any other bids? Like, are we too small an account? I mean, why would nobody else bid on that?
Don't know. I think it's strange, but
It concerns me greatly that there was no competition. That we couldn't at least find some other companies that could at least make this company sharpen their pencils a little. Without competition, they could,
well, they wouldn't have known when they put their bid forward that nobody else was gonna bid. They wouldn't have known that. So,
But there were 5 bidders, public transportation companies that I contacted, sent documents, they participated in a pre-bid meeting. I think that when they saw what we were currently paying, and said, there's no way we can touch that.
but we don't know for sure why they didn't wanna touch it, right? I mean, not just
Actually,
you.
I did, I
they tell
actually
you?
reached out to two
Yeah.
companies. One company said, this was a company on the Vermont border, said, I'm actually concerned about how healthcare reform is going to affect my staffing, he said, and my pricing. Another company said, we just can't come close to what you're paying right now. There's no way that we could even come close to that. Another company had just taken on some contracts in the Connecticut area and southern part of the state. Said, really, we've got our hands full. So,
The timing just wasn't
the,
right this
right,
time
and
around.
certainly the attempt was made to definitely.
But they weren't, the company we ended up with weren't aware, I don't believe, that the others weren't gonna bid. They just bid
No,
according to
we
what their
never-
costs were gonna be.
Right.
And their costs have gone up a lot, and they lowballed it to get into the town, is what, 3 years ago when they first did it. And they did, they were the lowest bid when we took them on 3 years ago.
And they do, they admit it,
We saved, I think, $58,000
Well,
back then,
yeah.
signing on with them.
Personally, I think it was a good choice too, because I think they were a big improvement over
Mhm.
the service we have.
They also did offer to move their office from here to
There you
Havel, where they have another office, and then they lowered our bill a little bit. I mean, it wasn't anything significant, but it was very minimal. But
go.
in an effort to, in good faith, to, you know, try to do something.
Yeah, we looked into having park the vehicles on the school property, but the road up there just was not capable of handling
Yeah,
buses.
behind the library.
Yeah, but that was another option we looked at, and we could, they reduced
Then
the
they would have
contract.
reduced it more because they would have saved the money they're paying to park it makes,
Yeah.
but
Right.
we couldn't do that.
If we convince the town to pave that road, we'll be all set.
All right, start going there, me
But-
too.
About $250,000.
Come on, Angela. What's the next step?
Next.
Did anybody else, Angela, did you wanna say something?
Yes, I did, thank you. Sorry, Ellen was passing coffee. Two things. One, something that came up today on the virtual learning piece of it. I had actually visited Brentwood School Elementary, and something they do there for some virtual learning, because they actually use Rosetta Stone for languages in their elementary school. So K all the way up through, I think they go through fifth.
They have,
So,
they have
yeah.
a K through 12 program, actually, Rosetta Stone. does.
So that's just, you know, an idea, suggestion,
Mhm.
and if it's something that could ideally connect with, you know, Sanborn High School, so we could build on, you know, what the curriculum would be or something, that might be an opportunity.
To be honest with you, I've been looking at that myself, and I was thinking of making a proposal to the board, you know, just trying to get costs. There's a lot of issues, you know, like, do they teach just how to speak the language, do they teach grammar or syntax, do they teach how to write in it, and it would be a whole,
Right,
you
and I'm
know,
not,
give you
to
a-
be honest with you,
yeah.
I'm not sure if that's even the right program would
Right,
be, you know,
right.
the people who are the experts in the language fields
Right.
and so forth may be able to recommend even a better program or a different program.
Right.
But it might be an opportunity or a way for us to creatively thinking of how we can start exposing children younger versus waiting till we
Right.
hopefully someday get, you know, a language professor at Ellis or until they go to high school.
I'm sorry, did you say how they incorporate it in the classroom? Because I
They-
was making notes.
They actually have it that it's like a standalone computer in each of the classrooms and that each student chooses a language and they actually have multiple languages, like 6 or 7 languages, I believe. So it's the parent and the child chooses language and then they kind of go from there. And it's actually incorporated, like they get time out of their day to go on the computer right there in their classroom. So once again, not saying that's necessarily the best way, but it's a creative way of trying to figure out, you know, what the community was saying they wanted, and then what they could do, you know, financially and physically.
Mhm.
So that was one thought. The other question I had was about the Sanborn Regional, and I know I had asked some questions last time about it, and I see that it's in the non-public, you know, minutes from last, discussing the non-public session last time, and it looks like it's gonna be discussed again this time, so I wasn't sure if there's what can be shared, what's kind of the process and and honestly confused to like, how is it decided non-public versus public, you know, how's that also decided?
Well, non-public versus public is outlined in RSA 91A3.
Okay.
So if you look up that law, it tells you all the reasons you can go into a non-public session. And one of them is to discuss contracts, okay? What I can tell you is that our contract is being reviewed,
Okay.
and that we're making progress. But if I say anything more than that, I'm afraid I'll jinx it.
No, that's good enough, that's encouraging, and just to know that's encouraging. So, okay, so that's the discussions happening about the contract, okay, that's enlightening then, thank you.
As soon as we can make anything public, we will.
Okay,
We don't like to keep anybody in the dark.
well, thank you. Any other public input?
No,
I heard the blood drive is good.
the blood drive was amazing.
That's what I heard.
And I know that I gave the information to Michelle, she posted that out on the blog.
Yeah.
It was incredible. You know, and I think,
I think
It
it's
is
great
like
that you guys
many
did it.
things.
You've never done that before, right?
no, I've been trying to get that going for about a year now. However, we have too many needle phobic people. And I couldn't get people going on this one until I mentioned it to Carla Smith one day. And 3 hours later, she came back, she said, I've got 3 days, let's pick one. And, you know, we worked it out with Diane Jackson, we worked it out with John, and we just ran. And we are planning next year to do 2 blood drives, one in the fall and one in the spring.
It's awesome.
Great.
We're gonna see all of you there, right?
Okay. I've already given before the date, so I couldn't give again.
Well, I'll make sure that we plan it well ahead, just.
Yeah, look at
And actually, can I say one more thing? I just have to say, this past few weeks have been amazing what's been going on at the school. When you look at the blood drive, when you look at the book fair, when you look at the musical, when you look at the cakewalk, when you look at the third graders doing a marathon, the third graders working Earth Day, like to beautify the school out front, just the pride, and just, it's just amazing. Took my kids to the planetarium today, my son's rattling things off about, you know, space and planets, and it's just amazing, just how good they feel about the school and how many good positive things are happening in it.
Great.
So I just have to say that, so, and I mean, the blood drive is just another example, kids couldn't do it, but just observing it and talking about it and seeing it, it's just a really good thing.
And what a timing of it too, when you think about what happened in Boston and then, I mean, I know it wasn't planned
But
around
we had
that,
31
but.
appointments booked before, by noon on Monday, I think Carla said. And that was before things happened.
Mhm.
So we already had 31 appointments booked, and I know that at least 35 of the people that walked in were non-booked. So, that were planning on coming before things happened.
Yeah, yeah.
So we were going to blow the doors off with that one anyways.
Mhm.
And I will thank social media for that one. That took off on the PTA's Facebook page, the
Yeah.
Fremont Community United for Children. You know I was posting and other people were sharing it and reposting it, and it has taken off that way.
Good stuff.
Alrighty. So now action items, we've already done the budget transfers, because I think we did in this part of your. Oops, sorry. I stepped out of line there. So now we're gonna go into non-public session.
Before we do, I'd like to make a motion to seal the non-public minutes from the evaluation, superintendent evaluation, till the process is complete and the results are communicated with Michelle.
Do I have a second?
So,
Any discussion? Everybody knows what this is all about?
yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we're gonna go into non-public for, it looks like 2 reasons, right, Michelle?
Yes,
Fine.
the student request and then contract negotiations with the paraprofessionals and 2 other issues.
Okay.
Just a quick question, superintendent evaluation, I know that it mentioned the meeting minutes, getting staff and so forth input.
Yes.
We are getting that,
We
right?
are, yes, we
You are.
just developed the form tonight. We pulled it from
Fabulous.
the existing form.
I'll give
And
you an
so-
essay, no problem.
I'm gonna be speaking with Michelle, and we're gonna do we're gonna put together a form for the teachers to fill out, and, or staff too, everybody. And then we'll have Michelle kind of get Jason to do an all-staff email with just the form that we'd like everybody to complete if they have time.
Great.
And we'll put a deadline on it, we're letting everybody know when it'll be due. It'll all be done by hand, it'll be printed and filled in, instead of like a Survey Monkey or any of that stuff.
It's fine. Just
And,
want to make sure.
We'll have instructions on where to drop it off and when to have it in by and all of that.
I know there are things to say, and I want to make sure that they're heard.
Yep.
Great.
We're doing that. So, thank you for your input and thanks for coming.
Bye, guys.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So we need a motion for non-public
Yep.
under RSA 91A3 1 and 2. And under RSA 91, wait a minute, 1 and 2. number
Sections.
3.
Sections 3, 5, and 6.
Okay. I was getting there.
Second.
Fine.
I'll second it. Whatever it was.
Roll call.
Praise I.
Karate aye.
Did I?
Keen, aye.
Careful, aye.
Minutes, this evening's non-public.
So motion's, sealing for 6 months?
No, a year.
A year? Okay, motion sealing for a year.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we did take a vote to spend some money on a security system during our non-public. And motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.